An Accra High Court will tomorrow hear an application filed by Afram Plains MP and National Organizer aspirant Emmanuel Abuaji restraining the ruling National Democratic Congress NDC from going ahead with the conduct of its December 20 Congress. So what would be the implications on the NDC if the court grants Mr. Abuaji's injunction? Could the NDC have resolved the matter raised by Mr. Abuaji without it being escalated to the courts? Does this have the potential to fragment the party's base ahead of its preparedness for the 2016 elections? My name is Stephen Anti, and this is today's big story. Now, tomorrow is the day set by the Accra High Court to hear the case of an injunction filed to restrain the NDC from going ahead with portions of its National Delegates Congress on Saturday, December 20. The MP for Afram Plains, who is an aspirant for the position of National Organizer, is suing the party for what he describes as an orchestrated attempt to disqualify him. He was one of 6 persons cited by the General Secretary, Johnson Esiedu Nketia, for withdrawing from the 20th December Congress of the party to elect its national executives. Mr. Didier Abuaji rejected that claim and sued the party after he detected that his name and photo were left out of the National Organizer ballot. Let's first get a better understanding of what Mr. Abuaji's grievances are. We're trying to get his lawyer, Bright Obing, on the line to have a discussion on this. But Leo Okran, who is also an aspirant for one of the positions, is joining us for a discussion now. Good evening, sir. Thanks for your time.
Good evening.
So, the Afram Plains MP's case in court. My key question to you, as somebody who is aspiring for a position at the Delegates Congress, is: do you feel that this should have been resolved before it got to court?
Well, he chose, that is, Mr. Didier, chose to go to court. And nobody could restrain him from going to court. But from our understanding, and the impression given us by the lawyers, this case affects only the position of the national organizer and not the total Congress as such. So in case, or in the unlikely event that the court rules against the party, it will only affect elections to the position of national organizer. The other positions can be elected for.
I mean, there are people who say that this court case is a suggestion that the party is not in good shape, that perhaps there are fragments which is likely to affect your base as you prepare for 2016 election. Do you share this view?
I don't share that view. I think what is happening is a sign of further democratization in the party.
Just that, right?
Yes.
I mean, beyond
people now feel very free to take on the establishment if they think they are wrong. Some of these things may be frivolous, but that is some of the ripple effects of democracy. When the system is so widely open, anybody can press the muscle, and this is what people are trying to do.
Right. So, I mean, I do know that when these such things happen in the structures of political parties ahead of major congresses like this, there are many who begin to say that perhaps the party is not considerate to those who have concerns among them. Because one of the things that Mr. Didier raised was that there was an orchestration so that he wouldn't contest the elections. You don't feel that perhaps his grievances were not addressed properly and it's painting a bad reputation or image for the party?
Oh, in my view, there was no orchestration. In fact, I have even had the opportunity to persuade Mr. Adidi from contesting. He's a member of parliament, and he wants to contest for the position of a national organizer. What time will he have for his position as a member of parliament and that of a national organizer? I mean, some of these things, well, the case is in court, so one does not have to comment much about it. But
right. Right, I understand, yes. Mr. Leo Okran. So what are your preparations yourself as an individual towards ensuring that the position you're contesting for, you're ready to win it?
Well, I have occupied that position before, between 2004 to 2006. And I believe that people know me sufficiently well, know my capabilities, know what I have done for the party and what I can do for the party. And I believe, based on that, and I have taught the whole country, for the first time, I have taught the whole country. And I think I can win the position I'm looking for.
Right. I do know that the NDC has made major transitions from its past as a revolutionary party, coming from the PNDZ era to the time Rawlings became head of state, a democratically elected head of state. And then there are political analysts say that President Mills, when he came into the siege, shifted or made an attempt to shift the party into the center. I mean, where do you see this NDC going after this Delegates Congress and its chances in the 2016 general elections?
Well, I believe that the Congress will revitalize the NDC. I have been around the country. I have listened to different groups of party members, their expectations, their worries, their anxieties. And I believe that this will give us the opportunity to resolve certain issues, to address people's concerns, and to enter into the battle in 2016 with a united front.
I see. So what? Let's look at this scenario. In the event that the High Court grants Mr. Abuaji Didier's injunction against the conduct of the election for the position of national organizer, what do you foresee as happening to the rest of the positions that will be up for grabs on that day?
Yeah, the rest will be contested for, and then we come back, look at the issues, and then resolve them to go and then hold the election for the national organizer position. In fact, there were northern regional elections. We had the same problem where there was confusion over national organizer and acting secretary. Somebody went to court. The other positions were contested for, and then the issues at the court were resolved, and then we had further elections to elect the other members. That's the organizer and the secretary. So this is nothing special. And it would have been better if this issue would have been resolved, and then you go to Congress, finish what you want to do, because you don't have much time. And Congress costs a lot of money, you know, and assembling 4,000 delegates and so on. But don't let's prejudge the case. Tomorrow is another day. Let's see what happens.
But you do not foresee that this might be, you know, might put some pressure on you in terms of timing. For example, if December 20th you're able to finish all the positions and it's left with one and there is still a court case to determine, do you not see that this will put enormous pressure on the party in terms of the timing?
Well, I think you are assuming that the party will lose the case, but I don't see it so.
Why are you saying that? I mean, I do know that so far as the matter is in court, we cannot discuss the substantive issue in it. But what gives you that confidence that this could go in favor of the party?
Well, let the court decide. But I'm very confident that the party will win the case.
Right.
In this case, the party will win the case.
Right. So let's still say if the party doesn't win,
it will. I'm very confident about that.
And you do not also foresee that it's likely that Mr. Abuaji Didier's injunction could be granted by the High Court?
You see, people should not abuse the court system. No. You know, law is there to aid society, and law is not there to cause confusion. And that's what some people are trying to do. I mean, everybody goes to court. For the most frivolous reason, they go to court and the case is thrown out, wasting people's time. This one is a waste of time.
Waste of time that Mr. Abuaji Didier should have resorted to the party's own internal structures to resolve the matter.
Internal systems of resolving such matters.
But why didn't the leadership of the party make this gesture to him, offer him that that platform to negotiate and ensure that his problems were resolved?
He started having these intentions last year, and he has been advised by his own colleagues. That is what parliamentarians are advised by the Council of Chairmen of Constituencies. And I told you, I saw him. I have forgotten where. And I said, I couldn't even recognize him. And he said, well, I was in the house. And I said, you want to go to court, you want to contest for the national organizers. You are a member of parliament. I've been a member of parliament. I know the burden of a member of parliament. So what is this that you are trying to do? The organizer's position is a very serious position. You are always occupied. You are traveling around the country. You know, but you gave me some answer I don't want to say on radio.
Right.
Well, if somebody is bent on doing something, well.
Mr. Leokra, I'll have you hold briefly. I will continue with the discussion. I will jump onto the other telephone line and speak to Dr. Kojo Opoku-Edu, who is a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana. Is joining us now. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Right. We've had a couple of injunctions here and there in both the NDC and the MPP. Are these healthy for these political parties involved?
The question is it even desirable? Especially with the latest attempt to place an injunction on the Congress. Why did it come at the time it did? Now, some few days to the elections. I think one might be tempted to read some mischief into it. However, there's no alternate, to people going to court over issues they are concerned with. And so I think we should allow them to do that. But I think they could have done it a bit earlier, so the party wouldn't have spent the time and its resources to get this far, only to be told by a court that it cannot proceed.
Right. So yeah, Dr. Edu, let me cut you in. We spoke to Lee Okran, who is also a contestant in the Congress on December 20, and what he's saying is that Mr. Abuaji DDA's petition appears to be a waste of everybody's time. Do you see it that way?
Please come again. It's a way of what?
A waste of everybody's time, that he could have resorted to the party's internal structures to resolve the issues he had.
Yeah, I think so. I think the party's internal structures were there first and foremost, and secondly, I think he could have done this a bit earlier. So it seems to me that it's quite mischievous, and it's going to affect the party, somehow. So I'm not really happy with that, and there's some issues. It's a waste of time. I share that opinion. However, as I indicated, people have the right to resort to the courts. That's a civilized thing to do if one feels that things are not going according to the law. So the timing and the fact that there were alternative systems within the party to resolve this problem gives the impression that it's an attempt to waste people's time. There's something serious about it.
You did mention, however, that this could affect the party one way or the other. What effects do you anticipate? Because if this is a legal process and the court says, for example, that the injunction should hold and that the position of national organizers should be deferred to a time when Mr. Abuaji DDA's name and photograph could be included on the ballot paper, what effect would that have on the party anyway?
Well, there are two things. First of all, they've spent time, energy, and resources to get this far. The party delegates are ready to come over, and then all of a sudden they'll be asked to hold on. So it will be some kind of an anticlimax, and it will, take the energy, out. And so I think in the long run, the party will have to look for extra money. That if the court so decides, extra money and reorganize itself. Meanwhile, they don't seem to have time on their side, and so and even if the court decides that the person has no case, it is still somehow going to affect them, because as we speak, they are in some kind of a limbo. They don't know whether they are going forward to have it or not. I think the court is going to decide tomorrow, right?
Yes, tomorrow.
Yeah, so they are in some kind of a limbo, which is not good for a political party that has about 48 hours to go to Congress. Morale will be low and so on. So I think it takes, something away, from the party, in addition to the fact that it's going to cost them in terms of money, reorganization, and resources.
Right. Dr. Edu, let me shift the discussion from this particular Congress to the NDC itself. I mean, over the past years, the NDC, by political analysts say that the NDC have made a conscious effort to shift to the center of its politics, with the late President Mills leading that move of the party. If we look at the NDC we have today and the NDC we had when former President Rawlings was the leader of the party, what changes do you see in this party, and perhaps the viability of it to withstand the opposition onslaught that is coming its way from the MPP?
Well, first of all, one thing that is quite noticeable is the shift away from the personality of Rawlings and an attempt to create a party that will be depersonalized and so on. But over the years, we've seen how that process has tended, to alienate the majority of the people. The reports we're getting, some of us are following the campaigns, is that there is disquiet and despondency among the rank and file of the party. And so you move away from a leader who is quite inspiring and who is almost always energizing the party to have a depersonalized party that is based on the rule of law and so on. And then you come up with a situation where the majority of your people are becoming alienated, estranged, and so on. So it seems to me that the present leadership of the party is a bit detached, from the grassroots. And a part of the explanation is the very perceptive absence of Jerry Rawlings.
I see.
And so on.
I see.
And so it's a party that seems to be out of touch, more or less, with a grassroots that is increasingly becoming despondent and so on. So they will need to find a way to re-energize and to re-inspire confidence in the party.
Right. Dr. Edu, let me quickly pause you on this and get a quick reaction from Lee Okran, who is also on the other line. Ambassador Lee Okran, if you can hear me, Dr. Opoku Edu, who is a political scientist, is suggesting that the party's effort over the years in shifting to the center has created a certain scenario where it appears that it is detached from the grassroots, leading to a whole lot of the agitations that we're seeing now. I mean, there are people within the party grassroots who have taken violent actions, closing down offices, burning down properties belonging to the party, etc. Do you share this view that your party's continuous effort to shift to the center is leaving the grassroots out of the picture?
Well, the party is not shifting to the center. The party is a left-of-center party. That's how the party began.
I see.
A left-of-center party. And it has remained so where it is supposed to be. What is happening right now, from my experience and from what I saw going around the country, is that there hasn't been much party activity from the center to the regions and from the regions to the constituency. There is a disconnect between these three centers. And what you have to do is to re-energize the center. And I believe that the election is going to solve this problem. It will re-energize the party. You see, the NDC is a party we can easily rally around. Easily, easily rally around.
How do you mean? How do you mean easily rally around? I mean, I can't get it.
We can rally our people around. You see, the issues right now are that of people thinking that they have been neglected. Let me put it.
But have they not? Are they not justified to think that they have not been neglected?
So if you have your children and they feel neglected, what do? You just take them on board and do what they are asking of you. It's simple like that. I mean, you can solve this problem easily. And you will do so. I believe that having gone around, even the going around of various candidates and meeting the people has energized the party to an extent that everybody wants to go to Congress and see that the right leadership is elected and the right things are done. We need to educate our party members on the philosophy of the party, on the party's ideology, on the party's manifesto. These are things that we haven't done for some time, and that is creating, if any, despondency at all. That's the cause. And we got to do that.
Right.
Go to do that.
Right, Mr. Leocran. Dr. Pokoedo, you heard Leocran's assertion. Now, if we look at this despondency you're talking about, appears to have emanated from factionalism, I beg your pardon. If we look at the MPP and the NADO faction and the Alan Shomantin faction, which raises ugly head in the previous election, it appeared that it raises head again when the leadership of the party was in contest. It does appear that the same thing is in the NDC. We have the Mahama faction, we have, until lately, the Mills faction and the Rawlings faction. These factionalizations of political parties and the political party structures, are they the right way to go in ensuring harmony in our political structures and governance?
Well, first of all, factionalism is just one of the problems. The other problem, which maybe the NDC people are not recognizing, is that even though they claim to be social democratic or center-left party, once in power, they pursue essentially capitalist policies.
Yeah.
And there is a marked difference between them and the MPP in terms of policy. And so the kinds of pro-poor agendas that people expect from a center-left party is absent. So that is one. The other is the factionalism. It will always be there. I have always said that in spite of the factions within the party, there are also other things that unite them. And so there is a very powerful tendency towards unity in spite of the factions that we see. That notwithstanding, factionalism has the tendency to divide the party at the grassroots. The despondency is partly due to factionalism, but on a more basic and fundamental level, it's due to the absence of pro-poor agendas that the majority of the people within the party will benefit from. Many of the people within the party cannot understand why they've been in power for almost 10 years, 2 terms, and still their conditions have not changed. So, and people are not simply interested in hearing or reading on paper that you are social democratic or you are center-left. So it will take some very good policy that will be very fruitful to trickle down for people to begin to see the benefits of membership of the party. And so factionalism is one, but the kind of agendas that they pursue in the last 8 years or so is also to blame for the kinds of disquiet and despondency that we see. The MPP has it also. It's always there. Factions will always be there. Sometimes they'll be built around personalities and so on. But there is something that unites Mills and Mehi recipes, Mills and John Mahama and Rawlings, all of whom are adults who joined the party on their own volition. So there's something that unites them to begin with. And so the factionalism should not seriously counter the trend towards uniting to face the NPP in 2016. However, the majority of the people within the party would have to consider their well-being, their conditions after almost a decade in office. And I think that is part of the explanation. That's part of an important part of the explanation.
Right, Dr. Edu, quickly, I'll return to you. But Mr. Leocran, before I let you go, now seeing that tomorrow we're all waiting, you and I and the mass of your political party and Ghanaians in general are waiting a decision from the High Court. Can you say to us in confidence that you're very certain that this Congress will come off on Saturday without incidents?
The Congress is going to come off. The Congress will come off. And I believe that we shall take some of the things that the learned doctor has said on board. In fact, we have recognized that our members feel that benefits are not trickling down to them. And they have their party is in power. And they must benefit from the toils of their labor. I agree. And this is part of the disquiet at the grassroots level. But these things do happen in political parties. You notice the problems and then you resolve them. That's what has been all the time.
Right.
As for the court case, I don't think it's a problem.
Right.
I don't think that is the way.
Right. Now, Mr. Leocran, let me ask you a very, very thorny question. When Mills came on board and became president, he roped in a lot of the young wing of your political party, people like Fifi Kwete, James Ajanim Boateng, Kokoa Nidoho, Richard Koshiga, and the rest were all given key roles to play in making that transition which led the party to claw back power. Now, looking at what is happening now as your party goes to Congress, it does appear that a lot of the old hands are resurfacing. Yourself, Dan Abodakwi, Hudu Yahaya, all of you are seeking positions. Betty Molded-Drisu. Are you not snapping or away the opportunity that the young people would have had to drive the party in a different direction? Why are the old hands coming back on board?
In our current society, cannot run the public matters without the elderly. It's very important. It's a mixture. The young ones are in government, and the elderly ones with experience, knowledge, and the know-how are trying to help the youth to run the party.
Right.
The party is different from the government. The party provides the strength for the government. A strong party will result in a strong government. And that's what you want to do.
Right.
As you go around, the people will tell you that when you guys were there, things were different. You know, we are not taking away the strength of the youth. I was a young man when I was made a deputy minister as far back as 1979.
Yeah, a lot of years back.
Yeah,
right. Mr. Leokra, I'm grateful for your time and your honest response. So let me wrap up with you, Dr. Opoku-Edu. Now, I raised this important question because it does appear that many of the young people have taken a back seat. James Ajanim-Boate is a typical person who has more like resigned every outward appearance in the political party to just serving the vice president and keeping it there. Now, the old hands are coming back on board. Yehudu Yahaya is a typical example, and a lot of Dana Bodakwi is also one of them. So, do you agree with Lee Okran that the old should be merging with the youth for the effective progression that the party needs?
Yeah, I think so. You know. From all indications, 2016 is going to be a tough battle. Already the MPP and the NDC are almost neck and neck. And it will take a lot of work on the part of the NDC to be able to defeat the MPP, given the fact that there are very difficult economic challenges facing us as a nation today, which may transfer into lots of votes for them. So they need to set up a very experienced team of party organizers to be able to contest and perform creditably.
Right.
And that would mean, working the youth and the older ones working together, the marriage between activism and experience, to be able to contest and probably hold on to power in 2016. But I'm sure they do recognize, and the delegates was already recognized that it's going to be a very tough battle in 2016. And so they need everybody on hand, all hands on deck. And they would also need a certain admixture of, as I've said, experience and activism.
Right. Dr. Opoku-Edu, we're grateful for your time on today's Big Story. My name is Stephen Enti, and thanks to you for making time to be with us. We'll be right back with the interactive segment. Do stay.